Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is HAZIM bin Muhammad ROSLAN. My groupmates and I will be presenting about a great Muslim scholar and psychology figure named Al-Balkhi. I will be covering about the topic of Al-Balkhi's background. First of all, his full name was Abu Zayd Ahmad ibn Sal al-Balkhi. He was born in the year of 236 Hijrah and passed away on the year of 322 Hijrah, which was equivalent to the year of 850 to 934 of the Common Era. He passed away at the age of 83. He lived during the Abbasid Caliphate Empire era, which was also renowned as the Islamic Golden Age. His place of birth was a small village named Shamistian in the Persian province of Balkh, Khorasan. Currently, Balkh is a part of Afghanistan, still with the same name. Before talking about Al-Balkhi's education and occupation, I would like to note that there is not much information known about Al-Balkhi's family background, childhood, and personal life, but we do know that he received his early education from his father in his village. During his youth, he set out to educate himself in the sciences and arts of his time. When he became older, he relocated to Baghdad to continue his education with renowned philosopher Abu Yusuf al-Kindi for 8 years. Al-Kindi was significant in shaping Al-Balkhi's academic endeavors. After he completed his studies, he returned to Balkh, where he was offered a job as Khatib and minister by Prince Ahmad ibn Sal, who was the ruler of Balkh, and later on in life, he was also offered a job as an assistant by the king of Khorasan. He turned down the assistant offer, but accepted the Khatib job minus the minister position. Now, we are going to take a look at some of Al-Balkhi's notable accomplishments. Al-Balkhi was a polymath. He had contributed a lot to different fields including geography, medicine, theology, literature, philosophy, and of course, psychology, among many others. But what truly set forth Al-Balkhi as a great scholar was his first major accomplishment. He rose to fame for his work in geography, and later on became the founder of the Balkhi School of Terrestrial Mapping, which further advanced the knowledge of Islamic geography during that time. In the present day, he is now mostly known for his contribution to psychology. He was also an author of over 60 books and manuscripts across various fields. One of his most prominent and influential works is Masalih al-Abdan wal-Anfus, translated to Sustenance for Bodies and Souls, which is a key text in psychosomatic medicine. Unfortunately, most of his valuable documents are either lost, concealed in museums, or kept in inaccessible libraries.
Now I'm going to talk about Al-Balkhi's work in psychology principle. So, Abu Zayd al-Balkhi is a notable polymath in numbers of principles during the 9th century. These include psychology principle, manuscript of Masalih al-Abdan wa al-Anfus, which is the sustenance of the body and soul, is a masterpiece that contains Al-Balkhi's wisdom in psychology principle. Specifically in the second part of the manuscript, which is Sustenance of the Soul, Al-Balkhi explained his ideas on keeping the health of the soul. So, the Sustenance of the Soul consists 8 chapters which Al-Balkhi talked about the importance of keeping the health of the soul, addressing the emotions such as fear, panic, sadness, depression, anger, and rage, as well as methods in regulating the emotions. Not only that, Al-Balkhi also explained the different categories of psychological symptoms or disorder. And in the Sustenance of the Soul, Al-Balkhi noted that the human soul can be healthy and unhealthy just as the same way as that its body can be healthy and unhealthy. Therefore, one should seek treatment for their psychological symptoms just as the same as how they seek treatment for their bodily symptoms. And what Al-Balkhi discovered in the 9th century can be found in today's modern psychology, which most psychologists today use.
Now I am going to talk about Abu Zayd al-Balkhi contribution. Over 1,000 years ago, Abu Zaid Al-Balkhi, a pioneer of psychology, explored mental health in his work Masalih al-Abdan wal-Anfus. He recognized the connection between mind and body, describing how mental illness like depression could affect physical health. Al-Balkhi identified two types of depression. The first one is endogenous, which caused by biochemical factors, and the second one is reactive depression. These two concepts that mirror modern psychiatry. This scholar also developed early forms of cognitive restructuring and exposure technique for treating OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. His holistic approach combined emotional support, meaningful activities, and spiritual practices to promote healing. Abu Zaid Al-Balkhi continue to inspire modern mental health care as a true pioneer in psychology.
Next is emotional first aid. Just like a person keeping first aid medicine for unexpected physical emergencies, Al-Balkhi argued that a person should also keep healthy thoughts and feelings for unexpected emotional outbursts. He suggested that just like the body can be treated through internal treatment, such as diet, and external treatment, such as medicine, the soul can also be treated similarly. For example, we can treat our soul through internal treatment, such as developing tranquil thoughts that can neutralize mental disorder symptoms. Last but not least, environmental psychology. Environmental psychology is a subfield of psychology that studies the interaction between the environment and the individual. Al-Balkhi was one of the early precursors discussing the impact of environment on a human. According to him, the body does not enjoy pleasurable moments of life when it is affected by external influences such as harsh, severe cold or heat, fearful entities, and insulting words. External influences from the environment can also cause people to have mood disorders. For example, certain stressful life events can cause people to have reactive depression.
So, for my part, I will talk about students' opinion of the application of Al-Balkhi's work towards current time. Specifically, I'm referring to one of his works, Early Development of Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, CBT. To be precise, his CBT addressed negative thoughts and maladaptive behavior. So, in my opinion, his CBT relevant and applicable in modern psychology. I see immense potential in applying Al-Balkhi's principles to modern-day CBT practices, especially in culturally sensitive contexts. His idea could provide a culturally grounded framework for CBT, particularly in Muslim-majority societies where Western psychological approaches might sometimes feel disconnected from culture and spiritual values. For instance, Al-Balkhi's integration of moral and spiritual elements into his treatment approach could resonate well with clients who value faith-based counseling. By adapting CBT to include these elements, therapists could make sessions more relatable and effective. Personally, I believe this adaptation could make mental health services more accessible to communities that are often hesitant to seek help due to cultural stigma.